gather here and the heart that you've placed on these families and these young people for missions. I pray that you would just bless our time together, that it would be efficient and fruitful, and that you would provide clarity to any questions that might be here. So we just thank you for this opportunity. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so the first thing is, it was in the bulletin, or you should have gotten the information from the youth leaders at your church. It is the 7th through the 14th, so the kids will be home for Father's Day. I will be home for June. I will be home for Father's Day as well. So another big question that is important for parents and kids, right, is what is the cost? Cost is a big factor. So there's $700 worth of in-country expenses plus the flights. The estimate that I've heard from Floyd is around $1,500, but we are at the mercy of the airlines, so some of that can change. We'll be ministering in the capital city of Guatemala, doing VBS twice a day. So it'll be ministry focused, but we will be staying at a hotel in Antigua. So that'll be where we're staying. We'll have one day of sightseeing, purchasing souvenirs, things of that nature. So that the expense of the trip will not include any souvenirs, but it will include all of your food, lodging, and logistics expenses of us getting there. For those of you watching this video via live stream, Floyd has been going to Guatemala since 2001, I believe, a long time, over 20 trips. He has a well-established relationship down there with a local church. So this is a well-established connection. We are confident in the safety and the connections we have for ministry. Another question I've gotten from some parents is vaccination requirements. There are none that are required. I think there might be some that are recommended just due to water quality. I think hepatitis C is recommended, but not required. So there's no vaccination requirements. So that's the big thing. Another thing, if I was a parent, I would want to know, how can I talk to my kid if I'm going to send my kid, to a different country quite a ways away. The hotel we're staying at does have Wi-Fi, and they can use the WhatsApp app to communicate via Wi-Fi. If you send them with a cell phone and they do not turn it on airplane mode, and you do not purchase an international package, you will have Verizon. I think the phone calls are $1.79 a minute. So something to be mindful of. I think Verizon offers a travel pass for $12 a day, and then it taps into your normal usage. So they could do either or, but they would be able to contact you every evening once we got done with ministry. Because where we're doing ministry, we likely won't have Wi-Fi, but the hotel will. Those are a lot of the big things that I can think of. I know that we have templates. Sam has went to Guatemala a few times, so we can definitely work together on a missions trip letter to self-raise some support for that. So that's something that we can do. I have a few independent fundraiser ideas that I can let you guys know of to help raise money for this, because I know it is a big expense. And I know I've had inquiries about adult leaders or parents interested in going. We are limited to 20 spots, not counting Floyd. So I think we're down to verbal commitments that I've gotten. 15 slots left. First step is get your passport. You can't go without a passport. And there'll be some other things logistically that I will want before we go, which will be a copy of health insurance. And I'd encourage you to reach out to your health insurance provider and see what coverage looks like internationally if we should need it. We probably won't, but just a good thing to be mindful of what does that health coverage look like. Or if you have a travel agent, you can reach out to them. There's policies you can purchase for travel insurance and that sort of thing. Any questions online or in the room? I know we've got a couple parents here. When will the money be due? I think the most sensitive cost is once we go to purchase airline tickets, and I can get that back to you. I'm assuming that would probably be usually about 3 months out is when you're going to get the best price from past experience. I haven't flown in a while because I have 5 kids, so we just pack up in the minivan. So I'd say that's probably looking at like March would be my guess for airline tickets. Mike? So probably airline tickets will be purchased in March, and we'll need that money for that. Any other questions? Who are our known leaders? Floyd is going. I am going. Bella is going. Sophie's giving me a look like she's contemplating going, but not fully committed. So those are our 3 leaders. I have a prospective leader from West Side, but we're going to kind of assess, and I want to give priority to students over adult chaperones, but I am willing to explore that. I'm hoping to have a solid idea mid-December to let any prospective adult chaperones from Montgomery, West Side, or Salina to know so they can plan and anticipate. I know it's a big expense, especially if you're sending a kid. So I'm hoping with like 6 months, about 6 months, that you would be able to accommodate that or plan for it. And if we get a exceptionally large interest of students, I will probably develop an alternate list too. And I would still say, like, if you plan on coming, continue to do that. But if you end up on an alternate list, if some child or chaperone would be unable to come, then I would let you know. And then I would assess priority based off of a few factors for students. If we have more students interested in coming than what we can accommodate. And that would probably look at grade level, spiritual maturity would be the things that I look at, and giving priority to likely some upperclassmen, because the underclassmen, I would love to repeat this trip again, not promising next year, but maybe every 2 years or something. So the hope then would be that we serve the upperclassmen, because they might not have the opportunity again to go where the lowerclassmen may. But I'm hoping that we have more than enough spots where everybody who wants to go is able to go. Any other questions out there on the internet? Scope of work, yeah, I did mention that. So we're gonna be doing VBS, a very simple curriculum, because I don't know that we have anybody fluent in Spanish, so we'll rely on some Spanish speakers there through the local church. But it will be doing VBS in the morning and the afternoon. The students there in Guatemala will still be in school, but they do like an AM school group and a PM school group. So it'll be kind of like a rinse and repeat thing in the afternoon. So that'll be the focus, is very ministry-based. I know a lot of the trips in the past have been labor-based missions, but this is really an opportunity to minister, and I would say be ministered to, because I haven't met somebody who's went on a mission trip that hasn't been ministered to by the Lord or the locals and the people they're on the trip with. What can they do to prepare? If you're fully committed to coming, or you have an interest, very soon we will have a series of YouTube videos, which I know is everybody's favorite thing, of songs that you can learn in Spanish, because a big part of VBS is the songs. So that's a practical thing if you're very task-based that makes sense. Another thing I would say is pray. Pray that the Lord would prepare the way for you. Pray for ideas on fundraising, and pray for the people who are committed to going with you. I think that prayer is one of the big things. Also, if you plan on going, what you can do now, tell your youth pastor, youth leader that you plan on coming, so we can factor you into the numbers. Because if nobody knows you plan on going, that'll be really awkward. So, so those are some practical things that we can do. I mean, if you're really ambitious, you could try to learn Spanish between now and then. But that usually takes a while. I know a little bit, but I'm very rusty. The last time I took it was in high school, so Yes, if you are interested in going, please reach out to myself or your youth leader if you don't want to put your phone number on the internet. I don't blame you. And we can definitely start a group chat to cascade key dates, any more informational meetings as we get closer. I notice that is when questions start to come from parents a little bit more than right at first. It's kind of like once we're starting to get there, like what are the logistics? What airport are we flying out of? That will probably be dictated by price. But I think they've flown out of Detroit before, Cincinnati at one point, Cleveland. So we'll let you know what airport we're flying out of and things like that logistically, and then how we're all going to get there, get back to your local church's drop-off point. So that information will be yet to be determined. It is on the radar. My understanding, and I'll have to circle back for 100% clarity, with Floyd is it is one local church that we'll be doing VBS with, that he has a connection with. I think VBS is our primary focus. There might be some opportunities for additional outreach. And if that manifests and we're have that opportunity, that's something that I would make sure that the parents are aware of. So they're fully comfortable and aware of like where their student is, what they're doing. And then on the day of, on our relaxing day, our tourism day, so to speak, all students will have to be paired up with a leader. We're not going to let your kids wander around a foreign country by themselves, despite how much they might beg and plead. I just won't allow it. So they'll be paired up with a leader, but they'll be able to be in smaller groups. Yes, because people lose things, and that's not something we want to lose. And your passport, if you are going or your child is going, and your passport expires within 6 months of your travel date, that can pose problems. So if your passport is going to expire at the end of June or in August, I would recommend that you start that process now to get it renewed, so you're not running into those expedited fees. I think it takes typically 12 weeks, so 3 months. So like the absolute latest that I would probably feel comfortable would be like January. Yes, so make sure you have your passports no later than January so we can order airline tickets. Thank you, Jen. That's a good call out. Any other questions? On phones, they can bring them. Parents are going to want to talk to their kids. I understand that. We're not there to be entertained. We're not there to scroll Facebook. We're not there to do TikTok or what other apps people use. And the other thing that I would say is it's very expensive to use your phone if you're not on Wi-Fi. So I would encourage kids to, if they want to take them to take pictures, that they keep them on airplane mode, and that you as parents strongly encourage the repercussions of that. Yes. And they will be responsible for their own phones, because that's, holding on to passports alone is a big responsibility. Adding phones, your youth needs to be disciplined. If you feel they're not, a leader will be happy to lend them their phone to call home.
Is there an opportunity to plan a letter writing day where we can congregate and do our letter writing for support?
That is something that we can do based on interest, or we could send out a template. We can kind of assess what has been effective in the past, but that's something we definitely could look at doing. We're all in various locations, so it might not be feasible for everybody to come to one location to do that. But if it's possible, I would be willing to help facilitate that here. And then we could cascade out those templates that we develop to churches that are unable to make it or parents. Yeah, we'll have a leader, or we'll use some of our support individuals to take photos. The other thing parents can do is if you have a cell phone that is prepaid, or if you pay off your phone with your cell phone carrier, which is like a grueling thought because cell phones are super expensive now, you can purchase an eSIM for the country that you're going to be in and basically get cell phone coverage with a provider based in Guatemala for a certain amount of days. So if parents have an interest in that, message me, talk to me. I can point you in a direction on how you could purchase an eSIM, but the phone has to be paid off. If you are making monthly payments on your phone, it is locked. Your carrier will not allow you to purchase an eSIM to use a foreign carrier. Oh, yeah. I feel like we should have done that a long time ago. Repeating the questions for the people out there online. Yeah. So we are willing to do a letter writing. If you're able to come, we'd be happy to facilitate that. If not, we will gladly cascade out that information. On the cell phone issue, you can purchase an eSIM, like I said, but your phone must be paid off. Otherwise, your carrier won't let you. But leaders will be willing to give their phones to be used to call home. And I trust that your kids are responsible who are coming. So as we're taking photos and stuff, just being sensitive that we're peering into to children and other people's everyday lives, and that we're just mindful of that. Because I know that's our natural thing, right? If we're on a trip or something, to take pictures, but always being mindful this is their everyday life and their people, and how often would you want photographs of you taken and shared with a bunch of people you don't know? Maybe you're okay with it, maybe you're not. Do you have any questions, Summer? Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Did you have any on Facebook, Soph? So if there are any questions, you can drop them in chat, or you can ask me later, and I would be happy to answer those. Dee, it looks like you have a question, though. It's going to be hot. I haven't really looked. Have you looked, Bella? Oh, what's the temperature like? It's going to be hot. We're in Guatemala at the beginning of summer, so plan on like light clothing, moisture wicking fabrics probably would be optimal. Shorts, but also like we want to promote modesty. Like we're there to do ministry for guys and girls. So guys, I would prefer like t-shirts that are fully intact, not that are cut out all the way down to the side that are barely existing. And girls, just that we're in modest attire. Would it pass a school dress code? I think that's a fair question. Like, would you send your kid to school on that? I think is a good judgment call. I'm not asking for polos and khakis, or dresses or long pants, but just the shorts are. Avery has an update via Google on climate.
Temperature assessment is that it'll be between 72 and 75 roughly. March and April are Guatemala's hottest months, so it'll be equivalent to our like August, September temps.
Yeah, bring sunscreen. You're much closer to the equator. I don't care if you burn or not. Wear sunscreen. Because if you get sunburnt, you're going to be miserable. And we'll probably harass your children to drink lots of fluids too. Like dehydration's just not fun. I'll probably pack liquid IV and stuff because kids and adults are prone to dehydration. So just to try to stay on top of that. Any other last questions before we shut her down? All right. Thank you guys for lingering. I wanted to start a little bit earlier, but it's daylight savings time, so just tell yourself it's only 12:30 and you're getting out of here at the normal time. All right. Thanks, guys.